Oh, there we go. Welcome in, everybody, to episode 4 of the YARD39 football podcast featuring myself, Lancelot Gaming, and my co-host, SwagMonstaFlexx. That way. Swag, say hello.
What up, dude? How we living?
We living good, my guy. How have you been?
I've been excellent, my friend. I've been excellent. I was off today. The new job has me off Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so it's technically my Saturday.
Ooh, let's go. You love to see it.
Yeah, I got a lot done today. Ran some errands, cleaned the house, and excited to be chilling here talking football with you now.
Awesome, man. But yes, welcome in, everybody. Hope you guys all had a fantastic weekend. There was a lot of great football that happened this weekend.
A lot of great football.
Also, make sure you go drop my co-host Swags a follow on his Twitch channel. SwagMonstaFlexx is where you'll be able to find him. He also makes great content. Go show the homie some love.
Thank you.
And I'm ready to just dive into things if you are, my guy.
I am, man. You know what? We were kind of talking before. What do you mean, not so great football? No, there was. Well.
For Chiefs
subjective.
fans, it was not. Yeah, that's definitely subjective.
I don't think it was that great for 49ers fans, actually.
It really wasn't. I'm looking over the games right here. What am I missing?
Should we jump into that game first? Should we jump into the Sunday night game?
Actually, yeah, you know what? We can just jump into that one if you want. I'm totally okay with that.
Let's do it. So, this game, if you don't mind me taking the lead on this.
Oh, absolutely, go for it.
This game was an interesting one. I think I actually, when we talked about this game last week, I think I actually picked the Niners to win this.
You did.
Both teams played fairly well. Jimmy Garoppolo was 25 of 40 for 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick for an overall quarterback rating of 87.2. But on the flip side, you had Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 33, 261 yards for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for an overall quarterback rating of 113.3. Devontae Adams just kind of did his thing. 12 receptions for 132 yards. And then Aaron Jones, had a pretty good game on the ground as well for 19 carries for 82 yards.
He did have one bad fumble, but
yeah, I mean, it was really back and forth, but it's one of those games where you can't give Aaron Rodgers time in the end. I think that's
exactly
happening. And like I think as a Niners fan, I'm sure Iceman can kind of attribute to this. It's like, yep, giving Aaron Rodgers 30 too much time. Yeah, you just like kind of hold your breath. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, that's the exact same thing as giving, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady 36 seconds. It's like odds say they're probably going to be able to move the ball down the field.
I mean, especially, I can't remember, did they have timeouts left too?
I don't think they had any timeouts left, actually. I don't think they did. I think they were out of all of their timeouts.
Oh, yeah, 3?
Oh, did they have all 3 of their time? Oh, no, San Francisco did, but Green Bay didn't. Yeah, Green Bay was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, I thought this was kind of a big game for both teams, and they both needed to win. It's interesting. Last week we were talking about how stacked the AFC is. There's some good NFC teams too, and we kind of talked about being top heavy, and I'm like, yo, it's kind of the whole league. This seems kind of like the Wild West this year. There's a lot of good teams, and I wonder if we're just seeing more talent go into go up into the draft and through it, and then the NFL is going to kind of resemble the NBA in a sense where there's you can't really sleep on anyone, right?
Right, absolutely. Well, I mean, there are a couple teams I think you can sleep on. I think for the most part, you don't really have to worry about the Jags or the Jets or the Giants. I think there's a few teams you can be pretty confident. The Texans are probably another one. You can be pretty confident they're probably not going to be able to compete very hard. But for the most part, I'd say the league is definitely more, top heavy than bottom heavy for sure. I think there's more really good teams than there are super bad teams.
What'd you think about? I mean, what were your overall thoughts on the game? The Packers 2 weeks in a row came ready to play, won 2 big games. I mean, they did beat only Detroit last week, who is 3-0, but lost against the Saints. But Rodgers seems like it was a kind of a get right game for him to kind of continue his trajectory. And I think he said after the game, that felt like a win. That felt like a game they needed.
Right.
And if it feels like they're on their path to where, to get into the playoffs and hopefully go to the Super Bowl. And if you're a Packers fan.
Absolutely. So I've been preaching over the last couple episodes of the podcast that I need to see consistency from teams for me to, rank them highly. And I think Green Bay is starting to do that now. This is the second big win in a row. They only won by 2 points, but this was like a statement win against a good football team. They played a good game all around as an entire unit. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. Like you said, Aaron Jones did well. Devontae Adams, balled out like usual. Although there was that one hit that he took, I think in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, he took a shot. And I thought he was going to get taken out of the game. That had all the signs to me of being a concussion, but he ended up being okay. But yeah, offensively speaking, the Packers look good, man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 23-33, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, he played very well. I also, credit to Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy actually, they asked him to throw the ball a few times, actually use his arm, and he did that pretty successfully. 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Looking at some of the Packers outgained them pretty much in every single offensive category, which I think, most people would have predicted. But on the other hand, the Niners pretty much outgained them in every defensive category, which I think is, again, what most people would have predicted. So I think these teams are what we think they are, but, I mean, they're still both very, very good. I expect both of these teams to be competing for, deep into the playoffs.
Okay, that's kind of what I was going to ask. You see both you see both teams as deep playoff teams, even the Niners?
Yes. So if I had to guess right now, I'd say that Green Bay probably wins the NFC North, which isn't saying much. I mean, their division's not great with the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings actually look pretty decent, I guess, but I still think Green Bay's easily the best team in the NFC North. And then as far as the NFC West, I mean, I'd say the Rams also looked really good. That one's a little bit more tough. I don't know if San Francisco is going to end up winning their division just because the Cardinals have looked amazing throughout the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The Rams also look really, really good right now. Matthew Stafford looks phenomenal. So that one's going to be a little bit harder for them to win their division, but if San Francisco doesn't win their division, I find it incredibly hard to believe that they're not going to at the very least be a wild card team, and I think they probably, win at the very least one game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Overall, I think 2 great games. It was a great. I think one of those. I don't know if we say so many games are classics now, and I don't know if they all deserve that. But great game to watch. Definitely a thriller, and kind of really summed up a great Sunday of football. Overall, I think there was a lot of fantastic games, and I think we're starting to see some surprises as to who we thought might be more consistent, who isn't playing as well as we thought they would, and what teams that kind of been doing it for 3 weeks now that just kind of taken a lot of us by surprise. So
yeah. I mean, they're the first 3 weeks of the year. There are a lot of records for a lot of teams that I did not see coming. I'll be completely honest. So. This has been a wild start to the first quarter of the football season for sure.
Can we talk about the Titans and Colts?
Yeah, I'm down. You want me to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, take the lead. Let's go.
So, I mean, to be completely honest with you, this game went exactly the way that I thought it would. I think Tennessee is just a better team than Indianapolis. They're 0-3 right now. I mean, this is the Titans' division to lose. Derrick Henry, is just another, 100-yard game. He didn't score a touchdown, but I mean, he still did his thing. Ryan Tannehill, he had 2 interceptions, so I mean, he could play a little better, but still 197 yards, 3 touchdowns, 18-27 completions. So I mean, they did enough on offense to win, and the Colts look bad, man. I think they have too many injuries. Let me look at Carson Wentz's stats. 19-37 for 194, no touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, he didn't really, I guess, do anything to lose them the game, but he didn't do anything to win either. Like, I kind of agree with what you said last week, where this might be his last opportunity to start in the league, and so far it hasn't been impressive. I mean,
Do you
this
feel?
rate, I feel like they move on from him probably after this year.
Yeah. Do you think the Colts are starting to regret making the trade for once?
I don't know if I would say the word regret, because I don't remember there being really anybody else like major on the market that they could have gone out to replace him anyway. I still think he's still the best quarterback on their roster, you know what I mean? I think it's just one of those best of a bad situation kind of things. I still think the Colts are kind of reeling, from Andrew Luck retiring a couple years ago. They weren't expecting it. They had to completely, reshuffle all of their plans for the future.
Yeah.
But as far as like regretting it, no, probably not. I mean, there's just not that many really really good quarterbacks in the league, you know what I mean? And like the only, free agent or anything off the top of my head I could think that they could go after would be Cam Newton, and to be completely honest with you, with the last couple of, seasons that I've seen Cam Newton play, I'm not even 100% certain that that's an upgrade. So,
Isn't that crazy though? Like to think about like Carson Wentz. Like I don't know. We just seen so many football analysts and coaches throughout the league and saying, no, this guy can play, this guy can play, this guy can play. And it feels like again, I know I said it last week, but it feels like for the past 3 or 4 years we've been watching him, and I'm like, he's not good.
yeah.
He's not good at football. He doesn't make wise decisions with the ball. Jalen Hurts stepped in the same situation with the same offensive line, same receivers, same running back last year, and was able to do more than Wentz was, who's apparently has this capability to be an elite quarterback. But where is it? Who's seeing that? Because we saw it once the first year, and I feel like that was just a fluke. I don't
Yeah.
I'm so tired of the Carson Wentz conversation. I just don't think he's good. I don't believe in him. So.
Mhm. And I think Iceman's bringing up good points in the chat. Like there are definitely people that they could have gone after in free or in the off season, but the whole Frank Reich, Carson Wentz connection, that one
Right,
big year that he
right.
did have in Philly, Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator and stuff. So I think that they were just really banking that Carson Wentz would be able to thrive in their system and that he could be, the quarterback to lead them into the future. But
Right.
I'm honestly, I'm starting to lead more towards your side now. I'm not really seeing it. I think he's probably one of those, C plus B minus, quarterbacks that are going to be pretty average throughout their career, and then maybe spend the last, 5-6 years as a quality backup. But
Yep.
I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I really don't. As
Yeah, I
far
think
as
the
as far as making a play for Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford, I mean, like, Aaron Rodgers was never going to leave Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay held all the cards in that scenario. There's absolutely no way that they were going to trade him without like a king's ransom. I'm talking like 3 or 4 first round picks and probably a couple good like defensive starters and stuff. Like, Aaron Rodgers was never going to leave Green Bay. I was never worried about that for a second.
right.
And then as far as Matthew Stafford goes, I mean, like, they probably could have made a push for Matthew Stafford, but honestly, I think that he wanted to go to the Rams. I think that he saw their team and he saw, what Jared Goff did with them, and he's like, oh man, if Jared Goff can do that with the Rams, I'm just going to absolutely destroy this league with these weapons. So I think he would have rather have gone to the Rams instead of the Colts anyway, but yeah, I think they're kind of just screwed now.
Yeah, it was funny too because I think they had to give if Wentz only played, I think that's like I think less than 75% of the snaps or something like that. They had to give another conditional pick
Mm-hmm.
to the Eagles, and he's played 97% of the snaps so far,
Yeah.
um, which is saying, okay, hey, thanks for being durable, but also you're not really doing anything to help this team win. But um,
I'm actually surprised he even played this week after hurting both of his ankles last week. But I mean, I guess give him credit for that.
uh, yeah, and I give him some credit. I just think there's a lot of quarterbacks. I think actually, I would be willing to bet if you were to stick Cam Newton into that starting spot, I bet he might be able to play better. I would have more faith in Cam Newton than Carson was at this point for the Colts, especially with the running game. They have a decent offensive line. Um, they do have some weapons there. They might be able to do something. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean,
that's
maybe. Yeah,
that's another conversation for another day.
I think if the Colts go 0-5, 0-6, if they lose another 2 or 3 games in a row, I guess I don't see a good reason why you wouldn't bring in Cam Newton, add him to your practice squad or whatever, just see what he has. Maybe if nothing else, maybe just to motivate Carson Wentz a little more.
Just go get Nick Foles one time. I don't know.
Go sign Nick Foles.
So
be like, here we go
demoralizing
again. Oh man, that's messed up. Anything else you wanted to say about this game?
Nothing more about this game. I kind of want to get into. Let's talk about our Chiefs and versus the Chargers, and then let's also follow up with the Josh Gordon situation, and kind of see where we're at on that one.
Okay. I'll let you lead off on this one. Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hear, the NFL analysts, and I hear what they're saying about the Chiefs could easily be 0-3 right now. In my mind, the Chiefs could easily be 3-0.
I think the exact same thing.
It's just such a tough situation. We should have won the previous week, and we would have won that game if it wasn't for the fumble by Clyde in the last couple seconds of the game. That's a win in the first place. We did beat Cleveland. We were down that game. We still came back to win that.
Right. We earned that win.
And we had 4 turnovers, and we're still leading the game by 11 points going in the fourth quarter against the Chargers Sunday afternoon. So I think it's just such a the game of football has so much luck and so much unpredictable factors that go into it on a week-to-week basis, and I think the Chiefs have been on the unlucky side of a few things.
Right.
Typically, maybe we're on the lucky side of a few things.
Right.
I do think the offense is playing, well overall. The past two weeks, Tyreek Hill has been fairly neutralized.
Yep.
Which has kind of opened up, a lot of Kelsey over the middle, and we've been able to get the ball to some other playmakers. But I do understand the argument that the Chiefs should be looking for another receiver, which we'll talk about Josh Gordon if he can provide kind of a little more of that balance and take some of that pressure off Hill. But overall, I mean, I'm not too concerned about the turnovers. I think I'm more so just concerned with the defense. The defense, the fact that I think
it looks bad.
The opposing teams have I think it was 11 times out of 12, or maybe it's 12 out of 13 times now, have scored a touchdown against us. And the one other time they scored a field goal against us.
Right.
And
our defense is getting shredded. I personally thought that maybe our defense was just bad the first 2 weeks because we were playing so many run-heavy teams. I thought this would be a lot different since the Chargers, are going to throw the ball a lot more than they're going to run it, but we still just got shredded.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. It's hard to win games like that when you're going to turn the ball over 4 times and your defense is letting any team put up 30 plus points on you, especially a good offense like the Chargers have. It's going to be tough to win football games, and a lot of the games are going to come down on the wire, and it's also putting the offense in a position where they're having to try harder than they should, and it's putting probably Patrick in a tough spot to where he feels he has to go out and make plays. Where a lot of times you need your quarterback to be able to do that, and I believe in him wholeheartedly that he can do that. He did have I think we're seeing Patrick panic a little bit. I don't know if panic's the right word.
He's trying to do too much.
He's trying to do too much, and the no look pass. To who was it that dropped or who hit it up in the air, and that's
Oh,
first off, great interception.
Yeah, that was Marcus Kemp. Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
kind of what I was
he
gonna
should
go
have caught
into
that
too.
ball.
Yeah, I mean, like
Uh,
that's one of those freak things you were just talking about. That's like that you just got unlucky. You know, he hit him right in the shoulder pads. You know,
right.
instead of catching it, it just
Um,
bounced up into
you
the air, and the Chargers defender made a fantastic diving interception. So I
Yeah,
mean,
the fumble after the catch by Tyreek Hill, that's also tough, right?
right.
And then
That was a great peanut punch by them. I mean,
yeah,
they get taught to do that. I mean, I don't think that was a bad play by Tyreek. I think that was just a really good play by the defender.
yep, the pass interference call on who was it? Butler? I can't remember who it was towards the end of the game in the last 2 minutes.
Baker, yeah.
So Baker, again, just tough calls, and again, I guess to wrap up my side of this conversation, kind of let you take the floor here. I'm not panicked for the Chiefs. I'm concerned about the defense. I think they
Mm-hmm.
need to figure some things out there. I think we need to get some sort of pass rush.
Right.
I'm not overly concerned about the defense. I do think that we'd be better suited playing Thornhill over Daniel Sorensen. I like Dirty Dan. I think he's a good player. I think he's good against the run. But I think Thornhill's a little more
Sorensen
better
might
in
be a
pass
little bit
coverage.
more of a liability in coverage, yeah.
Yeah, and coverage, and just not as athletic and not as much of a playmaker on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, given Thornhill's in his second year, I think you got to let the kid get out there and show you what he can do.
I completely agree.
But yeah, I don't know. It's the defense overall is the big issue for me. It's tough because I see that we have playmakers and we have good players on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
But I don't know if it's scheme, what it is, but something needs to change.
Also, a lot of our best players are just young, but yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I don't blame, as much as the 4, turnovers hurt us, which they really did. I mean, Clyde can't have 2 fumbles in critical situations 2 weeks in a row, and Patrick can't be, this is 3 interceptions in the last 2 games that he's thrown because he threw 1 against the Ravens. So I mean,
yep,
put it all together, that's 5 turnovers in the last few games. That's gonna lose you guys some football games. But when I look at the stats, I mean, Kansas City outgained the Chargers by 85 yards. I was actually impressed with our ground game. Clyde had over 100 yards. Patrick did some things. You know what I mean? We actually looked like we had a balanced attack. I mean, other than the 1 fumble that Clyde had, he also had a receiving touchdown. So I was a little bit more impressed with him, but that fumble just really killed us. It's the turnovers and it's the defense. If we can get control of the turnovers, like let's say instead of 4, let's say we only have 2 turnovers yesterday, I think we win. I think we win that game. Not easily, but I definitely think we win. If we turn 2 of those turnovers, let's just say into a field goal apiece, that's 6 points.
Right.
I think we win that game. We won in time of possession. We were better in third down efficiency. You know what I mean? It's just the turnovers and it's the defense. If we can get that corrected, I think we'll be fine. A lot of our good defensive players are young. We were also missing, 2 key defensive starters. Frank Clark didn't play, and then our number 1 corner, Javarius Ward, also didn't play. So we're a little bit banged up there too, so that doesn't help. I think if we can get healthy, we'll probably be fine. But Steve Spagnuolo, our defensive coordinator, definitely has to start making some changes. Like, I need to see sound gap awareness. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of seeing
being able to make tackles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sick of seeing even like guys like Austin Eckler should not be averaging 5 yards a carry. I know he's fast and shifty, but he's so much more of like a receiving back and stuff. He's not a Derrick Henry where he's just gonna pound the line. You know what I mean? And like.
Right.
Guys like that getting 5 yards a carry when they're the smaller, shiftier kind of guys, I just feel like we need... Our run defense, I think, is our biggest problem for me.
What was Jones on the edge in this game? Was he playing defensive end or was he back in the middle?
So they switch him up a lot, but he's primarily playing defensive end, yes. He does rotate given on the situation, but they did like officially move him during the offseason from defensive tackle to defensive end.
Do you think they did that because we don't have any other defensive ends that are really can do it? I mean, we have Alex Okafor, who's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm struggling to think what other defensive ends do we have on the team? Um,
Um, man, and his name is gonna escape me now too. That you put me on the spot, but he made a
but
he made. I get your
you
point
see what I'm
though.
saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally
it's
get your
just
point.
like I think we have a decent young linebacker crew
Mm-hmm.
that might be able to do it. I think Anthony Hitchens needs to go. I'm not a fan. He did have a couple good plays this game, but overall, I just don't think he's that good of a player.
Yeah,
Um, I think Willie Gay Jr. is an answer. I think the rookie
Nick Bolton.
Nick Bolton has looked good in
I think he's
flashes,
looked really good, personally.
but and we have some good leadership on defense. But again, I just overall, I just
Mm-hmm.
don't have a whole lot of faith in our defensive line. And I think maybe that's a lot of the issue on defense right now. It's
Yeah.
putting a lot of pressure. We can't stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably loading the box more than we should, and that's putting a lot of pressure on our secondary.
Right.
And just overall, just causing us not to be able to do a whole lot. So
I think if Frank Clark gets healthy, that'll be huge. And then also, like,
yeah.
like Nick Bolton, like Willie Gay Jr., we also do
Mhm.
have a lot of, like, really young people on our defense. And then, like, we just signed Jerron Reed at
Yeah.
defensive tackle from Seattle this offseason. This is his first year here. He's still got to get comfortable in chemistry with the line and everything. So if, this is week 3, or this was just week 3 going into week 4 now. If by week, 7 and 8, we're not seeing some market improvements, then I really think it's going to be time to start panicking. But I think, the biggest thing is our offense still looks great. I think if we can just cut the turnovers and the really dumb mistakes in half. Also, like, on that 4th and 9, you had that really bad pass interference penalty that gives the Chargers, a
Yep.
first down, in the red zone. They go up, and end up getting the game-winning touchdown off of it. Like, if we can just clean up the really stupid mistakes, I think we'll be fine. I really do. I also don't think it's time to panic.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see.
I don't think it's them tagging. Okay, do we want to touch on Josh Gordon super quick?
Yes, just super quick. So I said this in my stream earlier today, but I think that the Josh Gordon signing is cute, and I think that he'll be on the practice squad for a couple weeks. I think maybe he gets 1 or 2 games worth of action. And then, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but there's nothing in his entire football playing career that shows me that he's just going to be able to stay off the dope and stay clean and be able to keep playing. I fully just expect him to get suspended at some point during this year.
I think one of the reasons actually he was reinstated actually because the league's rule on THC use.
Mm-hmm.
Has changed, and they test for a different level of THC, which qualified him for reinstatement into the league. I don't know if that's completely true. Yeah, so that's kind of. I was listening to some friends talk about it the other day. I'm not 100% educated on what the rule is and if there was changes to it or not, but that was part of the reason that he is coming back into the league.
Okay.
But I do think, I would say the last, 2-3 times were the last chances for Josh Gordon. I can't see anybody if he gets clipped out again, I think he's done. Not to mention he's 30 now. He's a young 30. He hasn't played a whole lot of football the past.
Yeah, his body should be fresh.
Yeah, he should be feeling pretty good and ready to play as long as he's in shape. And the Chiefs will get him there. But yeah, I mean, I'm just skeptical. I mean, how much rust is on it? I can't imagine he's gonna be the same player when he made his league debut and led the NFL in receiving.
Right.
We'll see. I think maybe if he can run some routes and do a little bit of things, it might. I think the benefit for the Chiefs is it might take a little pressure off Tyreek on the flip side, and if we can put him on the other side, he's a big receiver.
Even if he just turns into a gadget player, you know what I mean? Just because he is a big body, like even if we only put him in like red zone packages, you know what I mean? Where it's we're inside the 10-yard line and we just need a big body to go in the corner and being able to pull in, an over the shoulder, fade or something like that, go up and get one. Like I don't expect him to be a 100-yard, double-digit touchdown receiver or anything like that. If he stays clean, and if he can play the entire rest of this season and make himself, into a decent rotation with the offense, I think he could be a huge help. Because we really don't have any big receivers, other than Travis Kelce, and I think that's a really big problem for us. Plus, he's tall, and he's also really fast. He is capable of also taking the top off of defense, too.
How tall is Sami Watkins?
Sami Watkins is, I think he was only
6'4"? No, I thought he was relatively tall, but
I'm actually not 100% sure. I never thought Sami was that tall.
Sami Watkins height. 6'1". Okay. He's only 6'1".
Okay.
So Tyreek Hill is 5'10", then Mecole Hardman's only 5'10" as well. So again, our receivers are just a little.
Yeah.
They're shorter than I am, so that makes it tough.
I mean, yeah, I'm 2 inches taller than both of them. So, and I don't think I'm like, great height for a receiver in the National Football League.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, that's what I think about Josh Gordon. We'll have to wait and see if he stays clean and he can get some good repetition with Patrick and everything. I think that could be huge. If he ends up being the same Josh Gordon that he has been the last few years, then it's not really gonna amount to much. So
yeah,
I think we'll just have to see.
Where do you want to go next?
So another game that I thought was really interesting, and this one more or less just for a controversy at the end of the game, but I thought the Baltimore-Detroit game was actually really good. Mainly just because, let's be honest, I think Detroit should have won that game, which, when you're, and I don't want to say anything to offend any Lions fans out there, this is just my honest opinion, but when you're a team that has as many faults and has as many flaws as the Lions do, and you work so hard to be able to win a game against a really good team like the Baltimore Ravens, and then just to have a horrible officiating snafu just basically completely screw you out of a win is just rough. I feel for their fan base. I really do. I mean, they played a good enough game to win, Jared Goff didn't have any touchdowns or any interceptions, but, 22 of 30 and 217 yards. He was efficient. He moved the ball. Their ground game was good. They put us almost 100 yards, each of their running backs scored a touchdown. They played a good enough game to be able to win and still didn't. And I think that's a travesty, and I absolutely hate it when the outcomes of games are put in the hands of the officials like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think the penalty at the end is tough for all of Detroit. I think Detroit's heart ached a little bit in that situation, but I think Detroit's had a lot of that over the the past 30 years. I don't think they've won a playoff game since 1993.
Which Barry Sanders was still playing the last time, right?
Yep, which is, whew, I mean that is tough, and just so many gut-wrenching games, and to see Matt Stafford go, I actually think Jared Goff is playing better than I expected he would there, given the situation.
Right.
They do have some decent players in Detroit. But yeah, overall, yeah, I agree with you. I think Detroit should have won that game. And I don't think the Ravens are as good as as a lot of teams are, as analysts and experts are making them out to be. I think the Chiefs should have beat them the week prior. I can't remember who they played week 1.
Yeah, so and that's another thing. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think if not for a really dumb Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble, I think the Baltimore Ravens lose that game. And then obviously if this game is officiated properly and that delay of game penalty is called when it should have been, I think Baltimore loses this game as well. So, I mean, you're talking about the Ravens are 2 mistakes away from being 0-3.
Right. Yeah, being 0. Yeah, because they did lose their first game. Who did they play week 1? I'm trying to pull this up.
The Raiders, right?
Yes, that's right. Actually, they did put the Raiders,
Mm-hmm.
which is another surprise team for me. To
Mm-hmm.
see them go 3-0 and playing as well as they're playing is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always
Uh,
fun.
um, but yeah, and I think a lot of Baltimore's issues is just overall just injuries, and I think they're getting unlucky. I do think Lamar Jackson is elite, or if not elite, uh, great at quarterback. I think he's good. I gained a lot of respect for him, even though our defense is actually absolutely terrible. Just to see
Right.
some of the stuff. There's not a whole lot of defenses when he was playing us, and even last week, just to see some of the some of the stuff
Mm-hmm.
this guy does on a week to week basis. Um, is insane. He's just a phenomenal athlete, and what he can do with the ball in his hands, whether it's running or passing, is it's pretty good. Also, I mean, the Ravens did drop. Hollywood Brown did drop 2 touchdown passes in this game,
Right. That is true.
which probably made it a little closer than we thought. So just giving Baltimore a little bit of credit there.
Right. For sure.
Um, I mean, the Detroit definitely had some mishaps on their end as well, but um, yeah, I think it's interesting to see. I think Detroit's been playing a lot of teams tough. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them go on a little win streak at some point, and they're playing hard, and when they're playing
Yeah.
hard, you can win games.
I mean, I
You can't
definitely
tell
don't
you
think
something.
they're not gonna finish out the season winless for sure.
No, 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 for sure. I could see them winning, 6, 7 games, maybe.
Yeah.
Against, kind of lower tier uh um opponents going in, and we'll see how the Ravens continue to play, and I think the Ravens are a playoff team, but I see them getting bounced pretty early. So,
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see how they go the rest of the season, but yeah, I mean, Baltimore's a bad fumble and a bad call away from being 0-3. I mean,
right.
they're definitely getting lucky. If they can stay lucky, I guess, then I mean, they'll be in the playoffs, but I don't
They don't
think.
want the Chiefs luck right now, though. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
no, I still don't have much confidence as them being like a Super Bowl contender, but I guess we'll have to see.
You want to talk more one more game from last week, and then kind of let's talk about
Yes.
some rankings and some previews.
Yes. So I thought the next, like the last most important game out of all the ones that I'm seeing that I really really wanted to talk about was Tampa Bay versus LA.
Yeah.
Tom Brady in his first ever game in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Coming off a Super Bowl win, the Bucks previously undefeated, going into LA, taking on the Rams. Take it away, Swags.
The first thing on the stat sheet, it's just so incredible and crazy to see, is Tom Brady threw for 432 yards in this game. He threw the ball 55 times. Granted, they were down. He was going to have to throw it a little more.
Yeah,
Tampa doesn't really have uh, the strongest running game in the league.
dude, they ran for 35 yards the entire
Yeah.
game. Like,
Do you think that's? I mean, I attribute that to just them getting down a little early, and just panicking a little bit. They
well,
did,
and then the
they
Rams
were.
also have a really strong front seven. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
it's gonna
for
be hard
sure.
to win when you're that unbalanced. Though 400 passing yards and only 35 rushing yards, like it's pretty obvious what you're gonna be doing. Then that makes the
So,
defense's jobs a lot easier to plan for you.
for sure. In the Bucks were down. Antonio Brown. They didn't have defensive end. What he was out of the game. He killed the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I'm spacing on.
JPP.
Yep, JPP did not play in this game. And those are 2 pretty big players. I don't think the Antonio Brown is that big of a loss. Granted that they still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski,
Right.
Leonard Fournette, OJ Howard. I mean, their offense is stacked there,
Mm-hmm.
and of course Tom Brady at the helm. But I wasn't really surprised by this. I think I actually put the Rams pretty high in my rankings
You did.
last
You
week,
put
and
them. You put them in your top three in the NFC.
yeah, and I wasn't. Did I pick the Rams to win this
I
game?
think you did.
I might have picked the Rams. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wasn't shocked to see the Rams win this game. I think they're just a very complete team. With Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side, Matthew Stafford is showing that he's been an elite quarterback in this league. It was just a situation for him. He threw for 343 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was 27 to 38 for an overall quarterback rating of 134. Just awesome numbers. Sony Michel hasn't been able to do really much of anything since he's been there. I know because he's been on my fantasy team, whatever.
Man, I don't even want to get into fantasy football. It's been rough.
Quick plug: I'm 3-0 in fantasy football. I'm leading. Let's go.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm 0-3. It's been rough.
And I think they have the best gadget player in the league right now in Cooper Kupp. Just someone who could, you can put on the inside, the outside. You can put him on solo. Just can get open and can run routes and
he's a very good route runner.
Yeah, he's awesome and so much fun to watch. They do have Deshaun Jackson, who's showing he still has top talent speed. 3 receptions for 120 yards. His average reception was 40 yards.
Yeah,
and his longest was 75.
That's Deshaun Jackson's entire career, though, right? Yeah. Literally just blow by somebody and get open for a big play. He's never been a guy that's going to get 7, 8, 9, 10 receptions in a game, and yet somehow still seems to have 100 all the time.
Right. So yeah, him being healthy, I think is good. I just think, and they have a decent offensive line there. And just with that defense there, I think their defense is going to put them in positions to win. And I think they have the quarterback that's going to win them those games. And not turn the ball over, play smart with the ball, and also can make plays to help you win. Right. He's not going to help you lose.
Also, penalties were huge in this game. I'm looking at it, and the Rams only had 1 penalty as a team, and the Buccaneers had 7. So, I mean, that's also huge.
Huge. Overall, great game. I guess I don't know if I would say it's what I expected. And the first half was greater, and then I think the Rams just started to pull away. Scoring 17 in the third quarter, came out firing. They scored 14 in the second, and just kind of played tough defense in the fourth, winning by 10 points. Honestly, I kind of see this as the NFC Championship game right here. And I think these two teams will be fighting for that number for that bye week in the playoffs and that number 1 seed. And I think that's gonna be huge. And yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think this is a huge statement game for the Rams, and I don't right now. I think in my rankings, if you were to say right now, I think I put them one overall in the NFC. I don't see anybody as better than them.
I think it's hard to argue with that. I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. I'll admit when I'm wrong. All of the off-season hype I heard about, Matthew Stafford is the missing piece that's going to, take LA and push them, over the top. I didn't really believe it. I guess just because I never thought Jared Goff was, he's not horrible. I think he's above average, you know what I mean? And so
he's better than Carson Wentz.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I didn't think that he'd be able to make that much of a difference, but he just looks so calm, so comfortable, so in control of this offense already. I definitely am starting to think, LA might be the best team in the entire NFC. Matthew Stafford, 27 of 38, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, Awesome. He's efficient. He's putting up stats and everything. I guess the only real reason I thought that the Rams were going to lose this game is just because Tom Brady's playing, out of his mind.
Yeah.
And, he still had a really good game today. 41 to 55, 432 yards, only 1 touchdown. But, that's still 10 touchdown passes in the first 3 games of the season. So, Tom Brady's been playing really well. I thought that was going to be good enough, I expected Gronk to have a bigger day than he did. Gronk, I think, had a couple tough drops, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But, hats off to the Rams, man. They're a solid team, top to bottom. They're well disciplined. and they play really good football. I think the Rams can go as far as any other team in this league. I also would not be surprised, like you just said, if this ends up being the NFC Championship game. I don't think that would surprise me in the least at this point.
Wait, so you go ahead and rank the AFC. Give me your top three, and then I'll give you my top three for the NFC.
Oh man, that's so hard. After these last two wins, I mean, Kansas City's still probably got to be in the top three for me. I don't know if I can put them at number one anymore, just because the best teams in the league don't make these stupid mistakes. You know what I mean?
Nope.
All these bad turnovers and dumb penalties in critical situations. If I had to pick a number one team in the AFC right now, probably Buffalo. Buffalo still looks really good. I mean, they made the NFC Championship game last year. Josh Allen still looks great. Another 43-point game today after the absolute beatdown that they put on Miami last week. Buffalo's still, a complete team. I don't think my top three teams have changed. I think maybe the order just did. I'd probably put Buffalo at number one, Kansas City at number two, and then Cleveland at number three. However, asterisk, and this really pains me to say it as a Chiefs fan, the Raiders are playing really, really good football over the first 3 weeks of the year, and I think they're probably in the top 5 best teams in the conference right now for sure. That game that they just had against Miami, you know what I mean? Like, it's Miami, so grain of salt, but I mean, they still won in overtime. Derek Carr looked great. Derek Carr's been playing really, really good football this year. I think the Raiders are definitely up there, but yeah, I think the number one, number two, number three in the AFC for me are still Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cleveland.
I respect it. I mean, for me as a Chiefs fan, I put them down. I would put the Chiefs. I don't know. I think the Raiders are playing better football than us right now. I think the Titans are playing better football than us right now. I think, yeah. I mean, but definitely Buffalo.
I guess, like, the only reason I'm not going too hard on them is just like we talked about. It's just really dumb, simple to make mistakes. I really don't think we're a bad football team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think we'll get it fixed. It's just so hard not to be disappointed.
Disappointed for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, NFC. Wow, man, that's tough. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my number 3 team.
In the NFC?
In the NFC.
Okay.
This is tough, and then I'll work my way up. I think I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers. Still Aaron Rodgers is still there. They got Aaron Jones. Just the complete package on offense. They have a good offensive line. They have a middle of the road defense right now. And Aaron Rodgers looks like he's preparing to make some runs, win some football games here. I think the Packers are gonna have a great season and be a deep playoff team.
That first game I think was definitely just a fluke at this point.
Right. And it was hard for me. I think Dallas is actually playing pretty good football right now too.
They really are.
Just a honorary mention there. And you also have the 49ers and the Cardinals you got to look out for. The Saints are still there. Carolina's 3-0. I mean, although I'm not overly impressed with them. Yeah, and then I think my number 2 team would be Tampa Bay. Tough loss against, like we just talked about, against the Niners, or against the LA Rams.
Right.
But in a loss, I wasn't shocked by. We just covered this, so I don't think I have to go into too much there. But and then Rams. So number 1 overall right now. I think Matthew Stafford's playing awesome. I think they have a good defense and they're well coached. So.
I'll keep it short and sweet. That's exactly what my top 3 is right now. I think you got to put. I mean, the Rams just went up against the Bucs and beat them pretty soundly. You know what I mean? They played amazing. So I think you have to put the Rams over the Bucs right now. I definitely think the Bucs are still a very, very good team. Tom Brady's, playing some of the best football of his life. They still have a really good defense, really good head coach, all that stuff. They're still the same team that just won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's one loss. You still gotta give them their respect. And then, the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is playing really well. I think their whole team is really coming together. And I really liked seeing his spirit on the sideline when that game-winning field goal went through, and you just see Aaron Rodgers jumping up and down on the sidelines, like screaming and everything. He still looks like he's having fun playing, and I think that's going to be huge. I think if he's still passionate and he still really wants to win and he's still giving it all, I still think the Packers are going to be able to go really, really far this year. So, yeah. That's my top 3 too. I was gonna try to make it interesting and make an argument for somebody else, but I think those 3 just make the most sense right now.
Let's pick some games. Let's pick 5 games this coming week.
All right, week 4. So let's see. The first game that really pops out to me right here. I think the Seahawks at the 49ers could be a really good game.
It's a big game for the Seahawks.
It's a big game for the Seahawks. If they fall to 1-3, they're going to be 3 games behind in their entire division.
Yep.
And I think at that point, their entire playoff hopes are. I mean, we're only a month into the year, but the Niners, the Rams, and the Cardinals are all real. I think they look, all of them, really good. And if you would have told me coming into the season that the Seahawks would be the worst team in their division, I don't think I would have believed you. But, I mean, that's the way that things are shaking out right now. So I think this game is absolutely huge for Seattle. The game is in San Francisco, and they need to win. They need to win if they want to stay relative in their division. But
who are you picking in this game?
I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers, man.
Wow.
They're at home, and they have been playing really good football. They did just lose to the Packers. I mean, but a lot of teams are going to lose to the Packers this year. They're also a really, really good football team. So, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's actually looked pretty good. They still have a really stout defense. They still have a really good running game. I think as long as they can stay healthy, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be one of the big contenders in the NFC, and I'm thinking that they take this game. If I had to give a score, I'm going to say I think it's going to be moderately high scoring. I'm going to say 24-17.
Okay, respectable. I'm gonna go on the other side of the fence here. I think this is a must-win game for the Seahawks. Again, I think they don't want to go. I don't think they would want to go down 1-3 in that division. I think we're gonna see a little bit of let Russ cook. I think Russ is gonna come out firing. I think they still got a stout defense. I think they still have a stout offense.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. I'm just not that impressed by the Niners' offense overall.
Right.
So I think the Niners have a little bit easier time this week. And I think the Niners win in a close one, 20-17.
Ooh, okay. You mean you're picking the Niners to win?
Or I'm sorry, the Seahawks to win 20-17.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You go ahead and pick a game now.
There's 2 good ones I'm looking at, but let's go Ravens Broncos.
Okay.
So the Broncos have played. They're 3-0, but have played. Each game they played has a combined 0 wins.
Yeah, they've beaten up on the Jets. They beat up on the Jaguars, and then I don't even remember who the third team that they beat was. But they've pretty much got their 3 wins playing like the 3 worst teams in football. So
right. But we know that the Ravens have been struggling as of late. They got lucky the past 2 games, and they could easily be 0-3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos do have a stout defense. They do have Teddy Bridgewater, who I think is a decent quarterback. He's a Alex Smith-esque kind of guy. Isn't going to win you the game, but isn't going to lose you the game.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But just being in Bronco country, I just would have loved to see the Broncos lose this game. So I'm gonna go Ravens, 23-14.
That's hilarious. Yeah, being a Chiefs fan living in Bronco country must be rough, man. I definitely don't envy you there. Spoiler alert, I also think the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game, despite the fact that, in both games, they're one snafu from somebody else, winning them a game. I still think they're just a better football team. Mm-hmm. Bradley Chubb for Denver also just got injured, so I mean that's a huge blow to their defense. I think the Ravens are too good running the football. I think Lamar Jackson has looked really well. I still think their defense is good. I think John Harbaugh's a better coach. I think they're a better coach team. I expect the Ravens to win this game. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I'm going to go like 34-21. I expect it to be a 2-score game, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it. We're on the same page there, sir.
So my second pick, the second game that I wanted to cover, and I think this might be the best game of the entire week. I'm looking at the 3-0 Arizona Cardinals in a division matchup against the 3-0 Los Angeles Rams in LA. This game I think is going to be nuts, and I think this game is super important because both teams are undefeated, so they're both tied for first place in their division. The team that ends up winning this game might just end up winning their entire division. This game could have huge, huge implications going into the playoffs. And as good as Kyler Murray has looked, and I mean DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green all look great. The Cardinals' offense is looking really impressive and everything. I can't really see the Rams losing this game in a game that's this important. Coming off a big win against the defending Super Bowl champions. The way that Matthew Stafford has been playing, their defense is still good. Aaron Donald, all that, I just don't see the Rams losing this game. I really don't. I do think it's going to be wildly competitive. But yeah, I expect the Rams to win this game and probably their entire division. If I score, I think this one might be a shootout, just with how good both quarterbacks are playing. I want to go like 35-31. I think this game's going to be high scoring.
Shootout. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I echo a lot of your thoughts here. I think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are an exciting team to watch right now. They have wins over the Jaguars, the Vikings, and the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Titans didn't play particularly well week one. I think the Vikings are a C+, B- kind of type of team. I think the Jaguars are, we know about the Jaguars. So, I think they not to take anything away from them. I just don't think they played the stiffest of competition yet. I am a Kyler Murray believer. I think he's a good quarterback. They have Christian Kirk there, and of course DeAndre Hopkins. And I like what I'm seeing.
AJ Green's been looking good too.
Yeah, AJ Green's been looking good, and Cliff Kingsbury has been doing a decent job as well. That said, I'm on the same page as you. I think they're going to play some stiffer competition, a great defense in the LA Rams.
The Rams are definitely going to be the best team that they've faced so far.
Right, and Matthew Stafford, who I think is playing at a MVP type of level right now. I just don't see them don't see them winning this game. I think it's gonna be high scoring. I think they'll put up some points. I'm gonna go ahead and go 20 33-24 Rams.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Um.
I got a game here.
Okay.
We have.
Shoot.
We are going back and throwing back. We have Tom Brady going back to play
Yep.
where it all first happened for him in Foxborough. We have the Buccaneers visiting the Patriots. Wow, what a game and what a mental game this is going to be for Tom Brady. And I know Bill Belichick will just kind of act like it's another game. He has to be thinking about this too. I mean, Tom Brady's coming in there, already thrown over 1,000 yards, has 10 touchdowns, won the Super Bowl last year, and just oof,
Right.
And I feel like Tom Brady is going to be coming fired up and really wants to win this game.
Wants to stick it to him, yeah.
Yeah, wants to stick it to him. I don't think it's a particularly close game. I think the Bucks win this game relatively easy.
I do too.
I just think it's interesting that Tom Brady's coming back.
Right.
And just kind of a statement. Is it Brady or Belichick? I think Brady's kind of making his case right now. He says, hey, it might be me more than you. I think the Pats have a decent defense. I think they have a future in Mac Jones. And they have some decent pieces around there. I think they're an average to maybe above average team. They start out the Patriots, and I could be completely wrong here, but I think the Bucks just losing. I think Brady goes in there fired up. I think the Bucks win this one. Gosh.
So the line right now is 7 points. Tampa Bay is getting 7 points.
Yeah, I think I think I'm right. Actually, I don't know. With Mac Jones, rookie quarterback, that defense, who hasn't been playing well against the pass, but I think it's going to come around at some point. I'm going to give the Bucks 24-13.
24-13. Okay.
Yep.
That's interesting. Okay. Kind of again echoing the same sentiments that you just said. I'm much more excited for this game for like the outside conversation about it than I am the actual football that's going to be played. The Tom Brady revenge tour, man. I think there's no team on this planet that he wants to beat more than the Patriots, just to really stick it to them. I think he wants to prove to them all of your success over the years was me and not Bill. I think he wants to really put a stamp on like I'm the best and I'm the reason why. And on the other hand,
he's like that, man.
Yeah, he really has. He's been playing really well. I mean, like he's made a fantastic case for himself. And then on the other hand, you have Bill Belichick, who I know there's probably no other quarterback in this league he wants to beat more right now than Tom Brady for the exact same reasons. He wants to prove that I am the greatest head coach of all time, and I did play a big part in all of our success, and I'm not washed up, and this team wasn't just all Tom. And
right.
So I think all of the chatter and all of the narrative around this game is just so spicy. It's so enticing. And can you imagine if the Patriots, I don't think they're going to, but can you imagine if the Patriots find a way to win this game? Oh my God.
Gosh.
Yeah. That's going to be the only thing that you're going to hear about for the next week. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's just so spicy. It's so enticing. But yeah, I mean, getting back to the actual X's and O's, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are just a better football team, right? I mean, I can't actually see the Patriots winning this game. I just can't. Tom Brady's playing so good. Mac Jones is still so young. The Buccaneers have just a better roster top to bottom. They have a better defense. Tom Brady has better weapons. Like, I just can't see the Patriots winning this game, and I also don't think it's going to be particularly close. Really exciting, though. If there was going to be a single game this entire year that I probably, wish I was wrong about, it might be this game, just because, I would love to see Tom Brady's face, right, in the post-game interview if he loses this game to the Patriots. That's just, there's going to be memes galore.
He will not be a happy camper.
Oh, man. It would be so entertaining to watch. Realistically speaking, though, I think the Buccaneers win this game, and I think they win it pretty handily. I'm going to go. I mean, I really don't think it's going to be very close. Probably like 34-14. I think it's, a 2, almost 3 score game. I think the Buccaneers are just that much better of a team, but really enticing to talk about.
Really enticing to talk about. Yeah, I think we're on the same page. I think there's some interesting narratives going on here, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got one more game, Lance. Take it away.
All right. The other biggest game that I think I really wanted to talk about is going to be the Monday Night Football game between the unbeaten Las Vegas Raiders and the 2-1 Chargers.
Yeah.
I think the AFC West is a much better division than a lot of people thought that it was going to be. I don't think a lot of people really gave, the Broncos and the Raiders a lot of credit. I heard a lot of people talking about, the Chargers being the second best team in the division after the Chiefs. And so far, it's looked a lot differently than I think a lot of us would have thought that it would look. But the Raiders are playing really, really good football right now. And if they win this game, If they win this game and Denver loses to Baltimore, which I think we both think that they will, the Raiders will have a solid lock on the number 1 spot in the AFC West, and I think that's just huge for them. I think that's huge for John Gruden. That's huge for their fan base. But on the other hand, if the Chargers win, then they get sole possession of the AFC West because their records will be tied, but the Chargers will have the head-to-head tiebreaker. So this game very much could determine who's going to be, the front runner for the division going forward. I think this game has huge playoff implications and stuff on it down the line. I've been thinking about it while we've been sitting here talking this entire time. This game is so hard for me to call.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, right now the Chargers are actually 3.5-point betting favorites to win. I think that's mostly just because the game is in LA.
Yep.
Justin Herbert has been playing so well, but on the other hand, Derek Carr has also been playing so well. Like, I think both of their teams are playing above expectations. The Chargers a little less so, just because I think a lot of people thought that they were going to be, at least pretty good. This game is tough for me to call. I'm sitting here trying to pick a winner. I could realistically seeing it go either way. I mean, I thought the Raiders were going to lose pretty much all 3 games that they've been playing. They were down 14-0 against Miami at the start of, the game on Sunday, and they ended up coming back and winning in overtime. I mean, at this point, I think that these games are really hard to call, but I'm probably going to give it to the Chargers. In a really close game, they are at home. Justin Herbert's, playing lights out, and I think, he wants to prove that he is one of the, top 5, best quarterbacks in the league. I'm going to give this game to the Chargers. I do think it's going to be really close. I think this is another game that, if not in overtime, could come down right to the wire. I'm going to give it Chargers over Raiders. I'm going to say 28-24.
Yeah. I think we're on the same page. I think I'm leaning more towards the Chargers as well.
It's a hard game to call, though, right?
It's a hard game to call. I think Justin Herbert is legit. I think he's a good quarterback, big arm. Kind of like the next coming of Ben Roethlisberger there.
Right.
They have throws. Mike Williams is been playing awesome. We're kind of seeing him develop into a number 1 wide receiver, I think.
Right.
And they still have, why am I blinking on his name right now? Keenan Allen there, who's always been awesome.
Austin Eckler's been doing good.
Austin Eckler has been doing good. They have some some good players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think their defense is all, you can nothing really to write home about, but they did force four turnovers
right.
Last week against the Chiefs.
I mean, I think at the very least, Derwin James and Joey Bosa are both, 2 really good players that they have on their defense.
And I think if you can if he can kind of keep that going and force a turnover or two, I think you can kind of force the Raiders to be more so one-dimensional, although Derek Carr's been playing well. I don't see the Raiders kind of keeping this up. I see them losing some games here and there, and I see them losing a close one here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 27-24
Okay.
Chargers.
Okay. So we pretty much feel almost exactly the same about this game. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for the last little bit before we wrap up here, if we just want to give our thoughts and opinions on how the league is played out so far this season, now going into the quarter mark.
Yeah, going to the quarter mark. I mean, it's been an interesting. I think the AFC is kind of like the wild wild west right now. There's a lot of good teams, and I think I don't. As a Chiefs fan, I have some worries. And I think the road to the Super Bowl is gonna be harder than to get there than I initially expected.
Right.
But it's certainly been a fun season to watch and some surprising teams. I think the AFC West has been playing really well overall, and that's been awesome to see. On the AFC and on the NFC thing on the side of things. There's some great teams over there as well, playing some really, really great football. A lot of great quarterback play, and I think we're seeing some legends be born. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
Right, and this kind of stuff is why I think the National Football League and just football in general is the best sport on the planet. Just because there's so much parity, and you can never, it's so hard to accurately predict what anything is going to be. Like, I don't think many people thought the Raiders and the Cardinals would be 3-0, and I don't think many people thought the Chiefs, would be 1-2. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much parity in this league. As much as you're so confident somebody's on top, it just takes one bad mistake, one bad day for, things to just spiral out of control. I love how competitive this game is. It's kind of just wild as my dog starts barking. But
yeah,
there are, like, I didn't expect the Steelers, to be 1-2 at this point. But on the other hand, as much as there's, stuff that you don't expect, there's also the stuff you do. Like, the Jets are still bad, the Giants are still bad, the Jaguars are still bad. You know what I mean? There's the Cowboys look a lot better than I thought they would. The Raiders look a lot better than I thought they would. I think it's been just really, really interesting, the first, part of this season so far. And if it's going to be this absolute roller coaster, for the rest of the year, I think this might be, one of the most exciting years of football in recent memory.
Dude, I'm excited.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean, if, half of the teams that made the playoffs last year didn't make it again this year, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this year there's just going to be so much turnover and so much stuff that's different.
There's going to be some fresh blood for sure in the playoffs, and we'll see. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be figured out. There's a lot of question marks and a lot to be just excited about as well. I think the NFL is playing some of the best football we've seen in the past couple of years, and as an overall football fan, I'm excited. So
absolutely, me too, my guy. As we're now getting to the 1.5 hour mark of this podcast, is there any final thoughts or anything else you want to say before we get out of here today?
I'm good, man. Dude, thanks for hosting today, and I appreciate it. You are a legend, and I can't thank you enough. I was able to make it home. I'm about to go do my thing. So wish me luck in some Apex over here.
Awesome, yeah. Everybody, just so you know, Swag is going to be going live on his Twitch channel here in just a little bit. He has a big one-on-one match versus the wonderful, beautiful, amazing Love Phenomenon. They're gonna be.
Why didn't you say that about me?
You are also wonderful and beautiful and amazing, Swag. So don't worry.
Thank
you for being my co-host. You're amazing. I think we have a really good back and forth, and I've been having so much fun doing this. It's been absolutely phenomenal, and I can't wait for next week, man. Thank you so much for everything, and good luck in your games against Love, my guy.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you just doing the show with me. It's been an absolute blast. And
Make sure you go drop Swags a follow on his Twitch channel for some of the best content that the platform has to provide.
wow,
SwagMonstaFlexx. Go show this man some love.
Thank you so much, man. I'm gonna get out of here and get things rolling on my end. But thank you, and we'll talk here soon.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No problem.
Chat. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna be getting out of here. As the aspect ratio totally changes now that the Discord call's over. I think we're gonna be getting out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. Thank you for the debates in the chat. Thank you for the support and everything. I know it means a lot, not only to myself but also to Swags. We have a lot of fun doing this every week. It's been an absolute blast so far. Hopefully all of you have been having fun with it too. It's been fun, man. The rest of this season is going to be really fun.